Hey guys, I'm Chandra, and I am doing just a little bit of different video just in response to a lot of posts that I've been seeing. So I am a licensed cosmetologist on top of being a realtor, a mortgage loan officer, life insurance agent, conservator, guardian, you name it, I'm doing it. But I wanted to talk about hair, okay, as a locked girl. I have sister locks. I've had them for about no, I'm sorry, about 4 years now. And it doesn't feel like it feels like just yesterday, except I started, they was up here. And I looked like Dora the Explorer, but so they've grown just a bit. But I want to talk about hair. So I have locks. Me having locks does not change my hair texture, or it does not change the structure of my hair. And so I see some posts in some of the groups that I'm in where they're like, my hair is so brittle, it's so dry, it's breaking, and I look at their hair and it's been bleached or lightened, so to speak. So I want to call into your attention Exhibit A. Let me call to your attention Exhibit A, the science behind hair bleaching. In the first picture you'll see is normal hair. If you have dark hair, dark hued hair, such as jet black, dark brown, then most likely you have a ton of what they call melanin on the inside of your cortex. Okay. And this is normal, right? And your cuticle, if you see this sheath that covers the cortex, is kind of flat, right? It's sealed, so to speak, right? So in the second picture, you'll see what happens when you bleach your hair. So when you bleach your hair, in order for the bleach to get into the cuticle or the cortex of your hair, it has to lift your cuticle up and it has to oxidize the melanin that's in on the inside of your hair, right? In order for the your hair to lighten, it has to destroy the melanin on the inside of your cortex, okay? The third picture shows a bleach mixture and how it travels inside of the cuticle into your cortex, and it begins to oxidize the melanin, which is the cause of your hair being dark. It oxidizes the melanin, which causes it to lose its color. Okay. That's what happens when you bleach your hair. Just because you have locks or that you've locked your hair or you've kind of allowed your hair to connect with each strand to connect with each other, which is what lock does, doesn't mean that your hair texture is has changed. So you can't like just if you couldn't do color and it not get crunchy before, just because you have locks doesn't mean you can do color and it's not going to get crunchy. Okay, I want to call to your attention Exhibit B. So this is Exhibit B, guys. And so again, your natural hair here at the top, you have your cuticle that's flattened, that kind of protects the cortex, the inside of your hair. And there's three different types of dyes you can use. So when you say I dyed my hair, you're doing one of three things, okay? Either you're doing temporary color, and in the first picture you'll see temporary color is it just the dye sits on top of your cuticle, right? And usually when you're doing temporary color, you can only go darker. You can't really go lighter, okay? if you do try to go lighter and your hair is dark, it's not really gonna stick, right? It's gonna be temporary. When you wash your hair, it's gonna wash off of the cuticle, okay? The second type is semi-permanent, right? There's a semi-permanent. Semi-permanent sits on your cuticle and some of the color gets into your cortex, okay? But not a lot because remember, it hasn't lifted your cuticle much. And so some of the dye gets on the inside of your cortex, but most of the dye still sits on the outside of your cuticle. Okay. And then you have permanent dye. Now, permanent dye can be two different types, really. Um, I want to say three, but I'm not sure with henna if it actually sticks very, very long, if it's permanent or not. I'm not sure. I have to do more research on henna. But permanent color, the dye lifts your cuticle. So the hydrogen peroxide lifts your cuticle. Okay. And then the dye goes into the cortex and begins to um, replace the melanin that's in there. So either by oxidizing it or adding, if your hair is already light, then it'll add the color on the inside of your cortex to change the color of your hair. The fourth one, I'm sorry, the fourth way, which is also permanent, is bleach. And this is what I've seen a lot of you do. So a lot of times, if you have dark hair, the only way for you to lighten your hair is to use a high percentage of hydrogen peroxide or to use some type of bleach because otherwise the melanin is very strong. It's not going to just fall out of the inside of your hair, okay? Bleach, it destroys the natural hair color pigments and it also raises your cuticle, right? So your cuticle's now lifted. The inside of your cortex has been kind of destroyed, so the texture and the strength of each strand has been compromised. So when I see that you have dyed your hair or bleached your hair or used a permanent color in your hair, and you feel that your hair is now brittle, it's like straw, that's because you have compromised the integrity of your strand. And so one of the things that you need to do, there are different things that you can do, right? Um, I'm not saying don't bleach your hair if you have locks. I'm just saying like you have to remember it's still gonna your hair is still your hair. It's still melanated hair, right? So you have to take some measures to make sure that you're putting that melanin is like a protein, I believe. You have to make sure you're putting it back into your hair structure, right? So a lot of times you can do like an alpha-G protein treatment to put the protein back in your hair and kind of help the cuticle to repair itself. I like Olaplex. I've used Olaplex on clients that I've bleached or did permanent color on. Olaplex works good. Um, and you also have to add more moisture back into your hair. So like a steam treatment after you've washed, a steam treatment, it works. But just remember, guys, just because you're locked does not mean that you can do and treat this beautiful head of hair of yours any kind of way. It's still the same. So I wanted to share that with you. I see these posts in these groups and this is on YouTube. So hopefully someone will stumble across this video and say, "Oh my God, let me take some measures before I decide I want to bleach my hair," because you got to still take care of your hair, guys, or it's going to break off. It's going to be brittle like straw because you've damaged the inside, the thing that holds this strand together, the melanin, the beautiful melanin that makes your hair so strong. You've destroyed it. So, Chandra, signing off now. Talk to you guys later.